This is the Segway P100S. Customer came in today because of a rotational noise. You can hear it screeching. And he just wanted it fixed. Step is to loosen these two brake caliper bolts. So we moved it up to a higher place where we have this bright light shining down on it. Because a lot of the times you can actually physically see the light shining in between the two brake pads. I'll show a different view of that in a little bit. But here, once again, we were just loosening the two bolts on the top of the brake caliper. And you do your best to try to get this rotor, the silver part right here that's spinning, to not touch either side of the brake pad. You can see the brake pads are in blue. You can kind of see them touching on both sides. You just have to angle it just right so that it doesn't cause a screeching noise. So what you can do sometimes, a little trick, is you actually hold on to the brake lever while you're adjusting it, and then try to, get it at the right position. Just turn it a couple of spins, and it'll basically force the brake caliper that you've loosened at the top to get into the right position, so that when you let go and then tighten it, it should be at the right place so that it's not screeching anymore. So now just let go.
Nope, we're gonna have to adjust the caliper itself.
All right, so we've tried to align the brake caliper with the two bolts, but that didn't work. And so now what we're gonna do is actually take off the brake caliper, and we're gonna have to show you how we adjust the brake pads themselves so that there's more space in between and they're not hitting on the rotor. So we've taken off the two bolts that we've been loosening this entire time. Now you just slowly get the brake caliper out, and you can notice usually there's a screw on one side of the brake caliper that can be loosened in order to adjust the width in between the brake pads. Inside the brake caliper, there's a small, it looks like a Torx bit that you can release in order to be able to better adjust the brake width between the brake pads. And now you just do it by hand once you've loosened that side Torx bit. And once you think you've rotated it counterclockwise and loosened it a little bit, go ahead and tighten it back.
That was a little bit, that might be enough.
Yeah, it doesn't take much on these. You want to start small and then over time do more rather than overdo it the first time, because slight rotation is usually enough. But basically all we've done is, you see that width between the two blue brake pads? We've made that wider than it originally was, so there's a little bit more space along the rotor so that it doesn't screech. So we've just got these two-pronged pliers or so, just to be able to turn it a little bit more, because the first time we loosened it, it still was a little tight, so we had to go back and loosen it a little bit more. So we're using a flathead just to make sure that the pads are right up against the edge there, like they should be, and they are. Good width. Don't forget to re-tighten the Torx bit that was originally loose. So after a little bit of adjusting back and forth, you can see we've got perfect space on both sides of the rotor so that when you spin it, there's no more screeching. Now we can just tighten the brake caliper bolts that we had initially loosened, and we're all done here. And now that we've tightened the two bolts, take it for a quick test spin, no screeching. Let's hit the brakes one time. The caliper engages, it squeezes tightly. Let's go ahead and see if we can turn that wheel while the brake is engaged. Nope, it's pretty stiff. We loosen it. One more test run. It's still pretty loose. This brake is good to go.